Assalamu guys, Ifan back again with another video, and this is part 5 of Visual Basic for Excel, the multi-part video series on Visual Basic. We have in the previous 4 videos, we have seen how to create a button. We have seen how to assign a macro to a button. We have seen how to move about on the screen, and we have seen how to read and write values to a cell. So in this, what we're going to do is we are going to create what we call a loop. Say for example, if you have cells that have values from 1 to, say for example, 15. Okay, now this you can start with 1 and you add 1 to it, you get 2, then you add 1 to it, you get 3, then you add 1 to it, you get 4, add 1, you get 5. So these are type of tasks that that are repetitive. They repeat. So it's lends itself very well to creating a loop. Basically, by loop, what we are saying is we're going to have Excel repeat doing the same thing until and unless something happens, something that breaks the loop. So that's what this video is going to be about, how to create a for next loop. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to have the loop fill cells with consecutive values from 1 to 15. In fact, from 0, let's do it from 0 to 15. Okay, let's do it 0 to 15. So let's see how we would do that in Visual Basic. That we could select any cell and then and click on the button, and it will populate those cells with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way down to 15. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to create a button. Now we saw that in the previous video how to do that. We will go to Developer tab up here. Okay, and then you go to Insert, and then you click on this button icon here. Okay, now as soon as you do that, the cursor changes to a crosshair because now you're in the insertion mode. Okay, and you hold down the left mouse button and you drag, and it draws a button for you. Okay, we won't put the macro in yet. Just click on OK. All right, so we saw in the previous video how to align the buttons so that it looks nice and neat on the screen. So you hold down the you right click on the button, and then you hold down the Alt key, and then you move, and it aligns itself to the rows and columns. Okay, and let's also rename this, call it list. Okay, now what we want to do is when I click on this button here, say for example, this is my active cell, and I come here, I move my mouse over here and click on list. What it should do is put a 0 here and a 1 and 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 15. So no matter where my mouse is, wherever I click the mouse, that becomes your active cell. When I click on this button, it should populate those cells downwards, starting from 0 and ending at 15. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a macro that will actually do that, and then attach it to this button here. Okay, so the way we do that is go to Visual Basic, and we do an insert module. We have seen that in the previous video how to do that. Okay, we will start with with the sub, so because it's a subroutine that we're doing. So let's see, next loop example. Okay, so we just call this routine a name, give this a name. Now what we want to do is we need there to be some mechanism for Excel to count over here when it's filling the numbers in. It needs to count how many numbers it needs to fill in. So from 0 to 15 is what it needs to do. So we need some mechanism. Okay, so for that what we'll do is we'll use a variable, and when in VBA we first have to tell VBA what kind of variable it is. So let's make it count row as integer. Okay, what that means is it's telling VBA that the count row variable is an integer, it's a whole number. Okay, it doesn't have any decimals. Now what we do is we'll create a loop. Okay, because we are filling in from 0 to 15, so 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus let's go back here, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. So basically, if you see, it's repetitive, it's repeating itself. So that's why we are going to be using a loop. Okay, and the way you do that is put a 4, and count row is equal to 0 to 15. Basically what this does is it's telling Excel that we will be creating a loop and it will automatically increment this count row variable starting from 0, and every time it goes through the loop it's going to increment by 1 till it has reached the value of 15. Okay, so now what we need to do is whatever the active cell is, we need to assign this value to it. And the way we do that is we have seen in a previous video, selection value is equal to count row. Okay, so basically what we did was whatever the active cell was, we took that active cell and we took whatever the value of count row is. It's going to start off with 0 and we put that in the active cell. Now what we need to do is we've got this part done. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to move down one. Okay, now if you pause this video and go back to the video in which we did positioning and movement, you saw how we moved the active cell on the screen, and the way you do that is by using the offset command. So you do selection dot offset, and if you remember the parameters that are given, the first one is for the vertical movement and the second parameter is for the horizontal movement. A positive number moves it down, a negative number moves up for the first parameter. The second parameter, a positive number moves to the right, a negative number moves to the left. Now we just need to move down, we do not need to move left or right. So, and we only need to move one space down, so we put 1, 0, close bracket. Okay, and select. Oops, sorry. Okay, so what this is saying is move whatever the selection the active cell was, move down one row, do not move right or left, and make that your active cell. Okay, so you've got that done. So basically what we're doing is the first time it comes through, it's going to assign 0 to count row. Whatever the active cell is, it's going to assign that 0 to that cell, and then it's going to move down one. Now what we need to do is we need to have this repeat till it reaches 15. Okay, and the way you do that is just put a next count row. Okay, that way Excel knows exactly which loop you're talking about. So once again, we have first created a variable, defined it as an integer, then we set up a loop. We start from 0 and go all the way up to 15. Whatever the active cell is, we make that the value of that the value that's stored in that variable, we plug into that cell. The first time around it's going to be 0, so whatever the active cell is, that's going to get assigned the value of 0. Okay, then using the offset command, the active cell is going to move down one because it's got a positive one. Had it been a negative one, it would have moved up, and a 0 means do not move left or right. If I put a 1 here, basically what it would have done is it would have moved down one and then across one. But we do not want that. We want the numbers to be in one straight line, in the same column. So we put a 0 here. So do not move left or right. Dot select. So you make that your active cell, and you go next to basically you go back and you repeat this all the way till, and you keep doing that till you reach 15. Okay, so that's done. Let's come out of this editor here. Now right click and select assign macro. Okay, and the macro we just created that would show up in this list here, and we select the macro that we just created and click on OK. Now I'm going to click here. Now this J3 is my active cell. Now when I click on this button, this should get filled up. Okay, let's color it in. So this would be 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's see if that happens. I'm going to click on this button here. There you go. All right, so basically what it did was it took the variable count row, make it into a 0, whatever and this was the active cell. So it it gave that value to the active cell, then moved down one row, and then incremented the counter by 1. So it became 1. Now this is your active cell. That value gets stored in the incremented counter is now 1, and that gets stored in this new active cell, and then it moves down 1, and then the value gets incremented, and then it gets stored. So if your mouse could be anywhere, you could just click here, and when you click on this list, it's going to populate from 0 to 15 over here. So let's try it again here. There you go. Okay, so let's just quickly look at the code once again, make sure we've understood. So basically what we did was we gave this macro a name. We created a variable called count row, and we told Excel that this is going to be an integer, so it would not have any decimals. And then we set up our loop. We're saying count row, which we just defined up here. That's going to range from 0 and go all the way up to 15. Whatever this active cell is, make that equal to this counter, and then move down 1 and not across, not left or right, and make that the active cell, and then increment the counter and go back and do this again. And this loop will continue till count row is 15. And that is how you've got from 0 to 15 here. So that's a quick intro into looping using Visual Basic for Excel. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please kindly give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and also remember to hit that bell icon so you'll always receive notification from YouTube when I upload new videos. Thank you.